Good morning, Twitch, or evening, whatever time it is. Uh, Jumping on a couple minutes early. I just got ready to go, and I wasn't really wanting to sit around, so pause a little bit. But you know, hope you guys, if you're watching later, are having a pretty good week. And yeah, I figured tonight I'll work on some. We call it flats, flatting, laying flats. It's the first stages of coloring for me. It saves me a lot of work in the long run, allows me to make changes pretty easily, and it helps. It buys me a little bit of time to kind of think about my approach whenever I do end up coloring the page. As you can see, I've already started laying flats on this page. The first panel's done, everything else is kind of in progress. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep going. If you see here, I keep my line art in a alpha channel, uh, and my layers are it's just the background layer, so I don't jack with my line art since it's on the alpha channel. And the most important things is that my lasso tool you see up here, the anti-alias is not checked, and the lasso and magic wand, both those don't do the anti-alias because that'll screw you up in the long run. So you can see I kind of got a lot of the base work done. uh, I'm just gonna go ahead and get in this. You got questions, by all means, stop me and ask. Oh, yeah, I want to make sure you're working on your color channel, not your alpha channel. Uh, but yeah, just gonna go in and basically flats refer to large flat shapes of color. By flat means there's no rendering, there's no uh, edges. It's just so when I come in here with a magic wand, when I do his face, it can just do it. Like if I say, and then when it's rendered or selected like that, I can just come in and put a brush. But if I have that, if I do any kind of rendering, whatever, if I try and select it, you see, you can see the marching ants. I can't select it there. So the flats just let me work in isolated areas, and then if and when I have changes to make, which does happen, either uh, the artist or writer or editor or somebody wants to make some kind of adjustment, whether it's a color or I miss something or mess something up, uh, it it lets me come in here and isolate stuff pretty easily. Uh, just gonna finish this page pretty quick, hopefully. And I've got two other pages that I have to start, which will be starting from scratch. Uh, so I just want to finish these because it's almost done. But so far, having a pretty good week myself. Uh, being being pretty productive. Oh, nice. Uh, I think he was supposed to run something on his show, his YouTube channel. Uh, After the debate last week, I was talking to him about it then, and he and Brett were apparently going to do some kind of post debate wrap up interview party or something on their channel, on his channel, and then he was going to probably plug Sasquanaut in there. I don't know if he did. I don't even actually know what his channel is. I hope he did. You know, uh, I do need to make the cross promo update tomorrow for Wild Cosmos. That's gone through. I didn't think it was because I was kind of not replied to for a good while, but that came in this morning. So uh, and that's where the idea came from for figuring out the specific uh links, interview links, or not interview links, uh like URLs for his site, because that's Curtis does that, and so he has a specific one he wants me to use for when I share his campaign. That way he can track where it comes from, and I know it's possible, and I kind of hadn't thought about it, and he's just really reminded me, and I need to figure that out. I need to learn how to do that. I know stuff like Kick Booster, I think, is pretty good with that, but I don't particularly want or need a paid service. I don't believe, unless that's the only way to do that. I don't know. I have to look into it more. Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, and my first pledge from Indiegogo came from Pop XP also, and and I don't know if it was the same night. I think it was the next morning. He didn't pledge that night, but I think he did the next morning. It was the like he had a real unique name, like Atomic Tenenbaum or something like that, and that was also the same name on Indiegogo. So I knew it was from Pop XP. So it helped in that regard. And I did get another Indiegogo campaign today too, contribution. So you know, it's not making any awards or set. It's progress. But yeah, Wild Cosmos will hopefully be pretty good. Crossover. I know I had previous backed one of Curtis's projects, but I forgot which one. I'd have to go back and look. It wasn't Wild Cosmos before. It was a different property. Is I don't remember which one it was though. I wish I did. I think I looked the other day and I'm like, oh yeah, it was that one, and then I forgot which. Well, Doug's been running on cyber on Kickstarter for like 6 weeks. So he just went around. He just launched his Indiegogo like today or yesterday. So I mean, it's sort of new, but not really. Like everybody knew it was coming. Ooh, man. I am also about that out of pocket, but that was because we bought a piece of furniture that we needed. We put an order in for a the new book that he was offering on Indiegogo. Yeah, I didn't even go look at it. I wasn't. I don't like that. I don't like that he created a new product for Indiegogo. They're like, oh, but you can go buy it there. I'm kind of with you. Like, it's because his shipping is not cheap either. I mean, not that he doesn't deserve it because he makes these really awesome boxes, and he puts all kinds of stuff in them. But you're probably not going to get two of those, if you're only buying like a single book on the other one. So I don't know. I didn't even look into that. I just nah nah. I, am so far behind on my reading. I want to get so much stuff, and I'm just so far behind. There's so many good books out there. Yeah, yeah, that's not cool. I don't know. I see these guys like Doug and Billy and these guys that are able to cross platform like that, and that's I was hoping I could get into that. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'll ever crack that nut. Trekker's cool stuff. I reached out to Randall. Haven't heard anything. I honestly I don't really expect to, because I backed another campaign of his a while back. I don't recall ever seeing him do that, and he kicked all kinds of butt in the campaign on his own, so he didn't really need any cross promo. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't holding out a lot of hope on his. It's one of those. I think it comes from being like the super old school, the old school mainstream comics. That's just You're probably not going to get that from him, especially since he kind of cut his own teeth already in there. It's like, hey, he's having his own success. He's like, make your own or something. I don't know. That's supposition on my part. I could be totally wrong. Yeah, I backed one of his previous campaigns, got digital stuff. I think there's like one or two books still I don't have from Trekker digitally. And I think the ones I was looking for, he didn't have on their own, plus with the new book. But he does have the add-on feature for Kickstarter. I don't know if you noticed that. He's got that, but I think he's not really utilizing it well because it was only like offering like one other item, one other specific digital reward on that one. And it's like, bro, like there's quite a bit here you could be offering, and you got like a single one. Yeah, I just got the digital one on that one. I'd like to get some of his books, but yeah, I've just done digital for now. It's one of those I haven't had time to read them. Like I really like the idea of digital comics, and I've got a ton of them, and I want to read them. I'm just not doing it like I want to. And right now, my I was reading them on my Kindle, and now my Kindle is bricked, so that doesn't help. And my iPad is an old enough model that basically Apple doesn't support it anymore, which is why I do not like or support Apple anymore because they basically upgrade their stuff to the point where you can't use perfectly good working technology that they offer. They just make it like, no, we're not going to support this. We're not going to give you what you need. Too bad. I don't like that. I think that's cheap because the tablet works fine. Like it still works, but they don't uh they don't really support it, and so I can't really use it. All my apps are out of date. So plus I can't put a memory card in it, which is what I put in my Kindle with a bunch of digital comics because there wasn't a ton of space on the Kindle itself for adding things. So I got a I got one of those memory cards, micro SD cards, and put a ton of comics on it. I got a bunch more, and I'd like to put some more in there and keep reading them. I still prefer comics in hand, like I really do. Uh, but when it comes to reading digitally, I'm okay reading comics digitally more than I am like reading a novel or anything prose. Like it's just that's not something I've quite gotten a knack for or enjoyment. So I've read quite a few comics digitally. It's not my first choice, and even like the first comic I tried out digitally, like just the series. I tried the series Atomic Robo digitally. Freaking love that series, and then I ended up going and buying it uh, when I was in San Diego one year from Red 5 when they were still at Red 5, and yeah, they gave me an Atomic Robo T-shirt because I bought like all the trades at the time, which is like 8 of them or 9 of them or something like that. That's been a good chunk of money there. I really enjoyed Robo. Really enjoy Robo still. But yeah, if I'm gonna read comics, like well, especially stuff like Humble Bundle and whatnot, man, that's such a good deal. And there's so many comics that like from Image and stuff that I wanted to try, but I never did try because I didn't have the extra money or whatever that I was able to get, through Humble Bundle for next to nothing. So I was like, oh man. So I've read a few comics that way. I mean, I'm actually okay reading comics digitally. I just don't read enough. I go through kind of fits where I read quite a bit and then I don't read much. I'm kind of in a not reading much. I just got out of a reading quite a bit, but I was reading a couple novels back to back to back, and that was fun. I enjoyed that, and I was kind of expecting to continue that, and then we started with my wife starting back to school. It just got to a point where by the end of the day, which is when we spend most of my time reading, like we do reading right before we go to sleep, just kind of unwind. That was really nice. By the time we get to that point in the day, we were so freaking tired. We just go to sleep, and we haven't really kind of broken that habit yet. So hopefully soon. I'd like to get back into it. But comics, novels, whatever. There's a lot to read. Want to read it all. Oh wow, that's kind of like the old Alan Moore's uh, prose pages in Watchmen and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, it's just a page, but the font is so small, you have so much there to read. I remember League of Extraordinary Gentlemen especially just had a ton of that stuff, and then plus all the advertisements that they created in it. It's just like, man, it's just those were comics that take you a while to get through. Pretty cool. Get your money's worth. No, I've never even heard of that one. I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know if I want something that in depth, that dense with text. Because I think there's a good balance in between in comics between words and pictures, and if it's skewed too heavy in words, I honestly feel like just go prose. Because when I was with Anarch Press, there were multiple times when we were doing the series Luftwaffe 1946 by Ted Nomura. There was a lot of times Ted just went like he basically wrote novels on the pages, and it's like, oh my goodness! Like you have all these panels with all this art, and then you have like 3 paragraphs that he wants, like right next to a head. And it was ridiculous. It was I didn't do much lettering on that book. I only worked on that a couple times doing that, and that was far and away more than enough. So it's like I don't particularly want that many words in a comic book. Words with pictures, where they're like, oh, here's a page of text with like an accompanying image. That's fine, but there needs to be a balance. Yeah, exactly. That it is a balance, and it does distract from the artwork, and it should be working together, not trying to overpower one or the other. You know, because even when Alan Moore did it, he'd only do it on a couple pages, and it was never like really in the middle of a book of the comic pages. It was always like at the end or the beginning, perhaps. So it's not like, hey, right in the middle of the story, you're taken away from it. Right. Those that may have joined a little later, where I am working on laying flats on this page. Flatting is a pretty essential part of my coloring comics. It allows me to isolate specific areas to work in and render only those areas without affecting, damaging any of the other art. I have to double check what her hands were like. I don't remember if she was wearing gloves or not, but that's sheer. That's why I'm just going straight through it. Actually, got turned on to some pretty good music earlier today that I liked. Uh, I don't know if it's classified as its own genre or not, but a buddy of mine posted on Facebook a link to. It's essentially the Star Wars soundtrack, uh, but it's been redone and twisted into what they call lo-fi hip hop, which I hadn't really heard that term before. But it was pretty rad, and that turned me on to some other lo-fi hip hop type stuff that was really cool, man. Just no words, just beats, which is probably my favorite part of hip hop in general. Is really just the beats and the grooves. I was really enjoying it. I was like, man, these would be great for streaming if I could be allowed to do it without getting in trouble. But considering, part of it was Star Wars, and then another one I was listening to was samurai inspired lo-fi hip hop, and that was pretty rad. But I'd hear a couple samples of Notorious B.I.G. in the background here and there. Just not much in way. Like there was a vocalization, which is why I knew it was Biggie, but it was just real mild in the background. It was pretty rad. I hadn't heard that stuff before, and I enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace. Just a quick sampling. I would really like to be able to put that on the stream. When it comes to flatting, the actual color choice doesn't exactly matter. You can make it whatever. I try to give myself a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing, or at the very least, try to pick colors reminiscent to the actual items. Right on. I do a lot of that too. Like I freaking love metal. It's my first choice, but I like to mix it up too. I like to think I have a fairly diverse taste in music. Obviously, I have preferences, but like it ranges pretty widely. And part of today was checking out the new Deftones album, which I liked pretty well. I liked it better than their last album. So for what that's worth. Yeah, if I could actually just play whatever I wanted on Twitch without any worry of the replays or repercussions or whatever, there'd probably be a lot more metal on here, but can't, so I don't. Even if I was able just to go instrumental on metal, do like some Angel Vivaldi or Nita Strauss's solo album, or go like company band, just all kinds of cool stuff. Of course, tomorrow we'll probably see a healthy dose of Van Halen in the rotation. I learned about Eddie Van Halen's passing today, pretty late in the day. Yeah, when we got in to go take my mother-in-law to the airport, like as soon as I got in, they started playing Jump. And it was funny because I was actually going to go see if I had my Van Halen CD in the car. I'm like, I'm going to put in Van Halen, but literally as it turned on, the radio was like, for Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Vedder. Oh my goodness. For Eddie Van Halen, they started playing Jump. I'm like, okay, I don't have to go find the CD now. Mm-hmm. That was a good scene. Yeah, the third season. I actually like that scene quite a bit too, because their manager's like, "Hey, this dude wants us to launder some money for him. You cool with that?" It made them pretty on the ball as opposed to just some chumps not knowing what's going on. I'm also doing audiobooks during the day right now too. Been doing the I got 2 free audiobooks from Audible. Like they were offering like, hey, for a 30-day time, grab 2 audiobooks. I was like, cool. The last time they did that, which was about, I don't know, maybe a year ago, maybe a little more, I had gotten the first 2 books in the Expanse series. You know, it's the TV show The Expanse. Because I actually really enjoyed the show, and I've never had much in the way, or experienced much in the way of like truly hard sci-fi. You know, it's always been fairly fantastical. You know, Trek was about the closest to hard sci-fi, and most of that's just made up. You know, whereas this is, from everything I've heard and seeing and whatever little I know, it seems pretty like pretty legit on how stuff would operate technology wise. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna check it out, and I actually really enjoyed the show too. So yeah, this would be cool. You know, books are always better than the show. I was actually pretty surprised at how accurate like the first season was to the book, and I think I did the second season. I guess I was after the second season, so I got the 2 books after the second season did, and it helped further explain some things in the second season from the show that I didn't quite get the first time around when I was just watching it. But that's pretty cool. Eyes are burning. Oh wow, 1,300 pages. Yeah, I just started book 4 today. That's the last book I have currently. Oh man, my eye is burning like crazy. Yeah, I got a couple novels I want to read that my wife really recommended to me, and I started one. I just I don't know. I wasn't like in the right headspace or something. I didn't get into it. I just kind of fell off reading it and everything like that. And it wasn't even because it was bad. I don't know. I just wasn't like in the reading headspace or something when I started. I've been wanting to go in and continue or finish, and that was my next book I was gonna read. And then we hit this point where it's just like too tired. I really need to kind of start making myself do it.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide
I will say
protection against viruses.
I have not read
Every
any
time you
Brandon
touch a
Sanderson.
surface, you leave behind bacteria. To keep surfaces sanitized all day, use Microban 24. Spray on hard surfaces
I
to
know
kill
the name.
99.9%
I'm
of viruses and
familiar.
bacteria initially.
with
When
stuff that
Start
he's
Microban
done. I
24
was
is set
actually
for 24 hours on
recently
bacteria and use
watching
as directed.
uh, like a lecture he
Microban
gave
24
about magic
sanitizing spray,
systems
bathroom, and multi-surface cleaner.
for my
If you
stuff
think
that
educational
I'm
support
just
should
kind of doing
actually
some
be available
research
when
and
you need it, enter Square. Built
have
for
never really
online or
done
innovative
much in the
tools
way
and
of magic
personalized attention from our leading
writing and
professors.
whatnot. And
Visit
he had a
square.edu to
talk
learn
that he was
more.
doing about
Square
magic
University.
systems. I was like,
Back
oh,
with the
cool, let me
use.
check that
Square
out. And that was
University is
pretty
certified to operate by
interesting and
Square.
informative.
From
Uh,
Gimlet, a tale of two princes
so it's
who
like I'm
together
aware of
saved
him.
their kingdoms, and the sorceress who
I've just
hid
never
it all
done.
away.
I've just
It's a
not
new beginning for
read
all our
much
people.
of
That's
anything.
why it would be such a pity if it all came tumbling down.
I'm going to see if I can
Don't worry.
get out
I
of
promise
a lot
whatever
of this.
happens, I'll keep you and this kingdom safe.
All episodes of The Two Princes are out now. Tap now to listen for free on Spotify.
Bro, I think you'd probably
What
just
does perfect sound
scoff
look like? Is it a sound system
at
designed to replicate
my
the
reading,
feeling of live music?
my pack
With
of
emotion
stuff I
turned
have
up
to read that
11,
I've not read,
introducing sound imaging by
that I have.
Lexus. We arrange specific
Not even that I'm
sounds
going to
in
get, that
specific
I have.
spaces by integrating one of the world's leading audio engineers into the early stages of our
And I'm
vehicle
sure I'll be
design.
getting more soon.
Mark Levison, Pure Play by Lexus. Inspired by you.
I'll
Our
get through
greatest
them.
curiosity.
I'll get through
Learn
them
more at
eventually.
Lexus.com/curiosity. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Oh, that saves me a bit of work. Didn't you? I don't know, man. I don't want to become like this, like, snob about adaptations, but they've kind of been screwing movies up lately. Like, movies up so many times. Just as much as I love movies, so many of them aren't worth going to the theaters for. And then some of those, like this series you're talking about, it just makes you wish, like, man, I just wish they do it as a series, because you can get more in depth. You'll get closer to the book just because you are more in depth. You're not trying to cram, hundreds and hundreds of pages into a 90-minute. Yeah, I've been watching the 100 on Netflix. I actually enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect going in. I'm like, what is this show? Like, whatever, I'll give it a chance. I think my wife watched the first episode or two with me. She's like, I can't do this. I'm like, really? I think it's pretty interesting. And then it went crazy. That show's nuts. I've actually enjoyed quite a bit of it. I'm hoping they put another season on Netflix soon. Scott Pilgrim was the movie that made me think that the director, Edgar Wright, that made me think Edgar Wright was the dude that should have done Iron Fist as a movie or a TV show for Marvel, because he was really good at making people that don't know how to kung fu fight look like they can kung fu fight. That was my most enjoyment out of Scott Pilgrim. I was like, dang, you can actually think that Michael Cera can fight. I didn't hate the show. Like, it was all right. It was one of those where I don't think they ever made Iron Fist live up to the hype of Iron Fist, where it was like, oh, he's supposed to be this immortal warrior that's really, really, really good, and he was not like the first episode started off pretty good because like when he went into Rand Tower and he got by all the security and he did it without like ever throwing a punch. I thought that was really, really clever. And then it turns out that Colleen Wing was a whole lot cooler than him and a whole lot better fighter. I'm like, then when they made her Iron Fist at the end of the second, I'm like, okay, I hate to say it, but I'm really looking forward to her being Iron Fist instead. And then they canceled everything. I don't think it was Iron. Honestly, I think it was more. Uh, I think it was a combo of stuff. Iron Fist partially. The second half of the first season of Luke Cage, because once they killed Cottonmouth, that show kind of tanked, and then the Defenders itself. Like I wanted more from the Defender show. It just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but I expected a little more. It didn't need to be like some city crushing thing, but I just kind of expected a little more. Yeah, and that dude's now going to be Blade. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think he could still play that role. I really do. I mean, he still looks the part. The dude hasn't aged a day. I mean, we all know a dude needs some help with his taxes anyway. Give that sucker a job. Let him play Blade some more and take care of his legal issues. Of course, then Marvel would have to kind of say that the first three Blade movies are all in continuity. And since they're going the more family friendly route, and at least the first two, I honestly don't hardly remember anything about the third one. I don't think I've ever seen it in one sitting, if the whole thing. But those first two are pretty hardcore, rated R, super violent. Super violent. Dude, what's funny about that free guy is my buddy Jay Gillespie and I. Jay's another dude on Patreon. He and I came up with a concept really similar to that. Not exact, but pretty similar. That he and I were wanting to do, and it's just like, oh. And then, like a year after we came up with this idea, that trailer dropped, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe not. Nice. Good old Steve Harrington. This dude's the last dude I gotta do on this page. Oh, I didn't break them down. Whoops. Dumb. Oh, I think they just announced today Dune got pushed to next year. Like everything just got pushed. Nobody wants to release since Tenet didn't do anything. Nobody wants to gamble on a a mediocre release, and nobody wants to do direct stream. I heard that's partially because Mulan didn't perform like Disney wanted it to, but I think there was a lot of factors in that. One, you had to already have Disney Plus, and then you're spending $30, which I'm not totally against, but it's $30 just to rent it as opposed to own it. It's like, oh, if I'm gonna spend that much on a movie that I'm gonna watch at home, I may as well just own it.
Dollar Shave Club brings you the ultimate shave starter set.
Yeah,
$5.
because Christopher
With free
Nolan's like
shipping,
a big
you get our
big
premium
theater
6-blade
snob,
razor, 2 razor
which
refill cartridges, prep scrub,
okay, fine,
translucent shave butter that softens hairs and leaves your skin feeling smooth,
but at this
and
point,
post-shave dew that refreshes and hydrates. It's the best $5 you'll ever
instead
spend.
of
Unless
worrying
you buy
about
some winning
his
lottery tickets.
own movies
Visit
like
dollarshaveclub.com/Spotify.
presentation,
Refills ship at regular
I think
price.
he should probably be worrying more about the theaters that he wants to keep in
It's
business.
the MyPlates.com
Maybe
Great
do what's good for
Plate
them as
Auction.
opposed to
50 rare Texas
his
plates
own
from
ego.
myplates.com now
You
through
know,
October 21st.
like,
There's
bro,
something
it's already
clever
out.
with plate
It's already
messages
not
from
performing.
Texas.
Just
Partner,
let them play it however they need to play it to
And
get it to
sports
make some
fans.
money for
one
everybody.
Mavs, one Spurs.
Not even just movie studios,
Giddy
but the
up.
theaters
Along with
themselves,
letter combos,
drive-ins
gears,
or
and more.
whatever.
Register now at myplates.com to bid in the Great Plates auction, and your plate could read.
Lucky me.
Good enough. Good enough for government work. Make myself a Fudge channel. Save. Boom. Okay. They also, I don't know if you saw, they also Regal Cinemas is like closing every one of their theaters like in the world, and they're like the second largest theater chain in the States. I know in my city they do like half the theaters in the city. It's like them and one other company. So now they're going to be closing all those theaters, and it sounds like it's permanent. I could be wrong, but it sounded like it's permanent. And the other company that does like the other half of theaters, like I got an email from them back in like July as part of their like, you know, loyalty club or whatever, where they're like, hey, write your representatives and this and that, ask for all kinds of like things for businesses because this is really hurting us and we don't know if we can make it. Yep. The other chains here, it's open, and they're showing all kinds of different stuff. Like they're showing like Star Wars recently and like Jurassic Park and stuff. Like stuff that'd be pretty rad to go see in the theater again. I mean, I haven't seen the original Jurassic Park since the sneak preview I saw as a kid before the movie came out. You know, and that was pretty awesome. I wouldn't mind seeing that on big screen again, but like I want to go to the theater, but I also don't. It's one of those things where there's some things we do, like we don't do a whole lot. We stay pretty isolated. But there's some things we do where it's just kind of like, well, I honestly don't think going to a theater would be any more dangerous than what we already do. So maybe? I don't know. I was having a conversation about this earlier with a buddy of mine, and even they're like, yeah, we got some mutual friends. Like, yeah, they go to the theater like every week, a couple times a week, and every time they go, they're posting and nobody's there. They're the only people in the theater, and it's like, oh, there's your social distancing. Part of my thing is I don't actually I don't always trust everybody to get totally sanitized, you know, but at the same time, if nobody's there, well, there's nothing to sanitize. So I don't know. I miss going to theater though. No, they can't make that much money because, especially depending on what kind of staff they're running, you know, they gotta have a pretty limited staff, but that's still gonna cost. This is a page from the other project I'm currently working on called Soul Finders, that you mentioned for that is Doug's project. I'm finally kind of getting in a groove on coloring this stuff. There's still some really wacky faces that give me a bit of grief trying to figure out how to color because. But it's not as bad as the first couple pages where I was like kind of getting a feel for it. Honestly, I think my biggest issue is Brett works all over the place. The dude I'm coloring it with, he jumps around and drives me nuts. He's like, oh, I want to establish this and that for this and that. And I'm like, cool, except here you've done like 6 pages and you can clearly see on like these 2 pages before that I'm doing that there's this whole other element that was within the pages that didn't that never got colored. So now I have to kind of ignore it, or we got to fix a whole bunch of pages because we didn't do them in order. I don't know. I used to jump around and I used to experiment a bunch of different ways of working, trying to find the way that worked best. And I can make a pretty strong argument for the way I work as being probably the most efficient. You know, everybody's got their way, but there's a lot of shortcomings with the way this is. Because with the pages I'm doing, like, he literally could have just said, like, do this page at this page, and that's how it works out. It's supposed to, like, here's a page here, here's a page here, here's 2 in the middle, here's another one over here, here's 3 before that. It's just like, bro, if you just would have let me work a chunk of pages in a row, it'd be done. Man, Long Harbor looks dope. I'm not happy how long that one's taking just because I want it. But yeah, it's got some boat stuff here. I actually did a couple underwater pages that I think came out pretty rad. Maybe I'll post JPEGs on the Patreon like tomorrow. Because one especially I think came out really, really cool. I think they both came out well. But again, I probably would have touched it a little bit differently had I done the pages before that or seen the pages before that, because I could have seen them, but I didn't know what he was doing, and then he gave them to me, and it's like, that would shift my colors a tad, which I still could, but I was trying to build towards what he was doing on later pages, and it's just like, oh, bro, like, it's supposed to be, there should be some synergy, and trying to build what he's doing to what he has, which that's fine, easy enough. But I'm also working from like half the info I need, which that part I don't like. Just my personal preference, the way it works. It makes things a little easier and saves on changes, to be perfectly honest. I freaking hate making changes, especially changes that can be avoided. Yeah, it's been a while on Long Harbor. It's kind of real sporadic updates. And that was one of those I liked so much. I was like, I don't know about this. I'm usually pretty particular about who and what I back. And that was one. I didn't quite do my due diligence. We'll get it. He still updates and stuff. He hasn't took off, but it's taken longer. I probably could have waited had I, done a little more looking into that one. But I mean, I think that was over a year ago. About a year ago, at least. Yeah, he is. Well, he should be, man. The guy's really, really good. I think he and Doug are supposed to be doing something together. I vaguely recall hearing that on one of the times he was on the Pop XP crowdfunding comics channel. Which I was like, oh, that'll be cool, except, let the dude finish Long Harbor first.
Hey there, nerd lords and ladies. We're Holden and Jake from Wizard of the Bruiser, a podcast where we go into the true stories behind our favorite properties that have defined fandom culture.
That's right, Holden. Each week we uncover the real history behind the things like Dragon Ball Z, Firefly,
And
Futurama, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater,
Who knows,
I think
bro?
they get it.
Full
So
Metal
we.
Alchemist, Neopets, Harley Quinn.
All right, listen. If it's got a Funko Pop
Who
or the front page
knows?
of Reddit, chances are we'll cover it.
Start your edutainment journey today. Tap the button to start.
One dude that bought one of the decks the last time I did them. Like I talked to him briefly,
Think so?
What about those
and
Come stay with us.
I don't know, he was having some reading comprehension issues or something. Is
Missing out on Geico's great service. With Geico, you
he'll pledge eventually. I don't know if he'll get a skateboard or not.
Thank you, creepy girls.
want to see our room?
The other guys,
Happy Geico-ween.
I don't know.
Switch today for 24/7 access to licensed agents.
That's one of those things though. If they don't pledge, if nobody buys the skate deck, I don't have to make them, so I won't be out anything. Like this is, I didn't prefab those like I did last time. I did it last time partly because I wanted to see how the quality was, see if it was something I was comfortable selling, and it was cool enough that yeah, I did. But you know, now I know, so I didn't spec it out this time. So you know, if nobody orders it, you know, I'm not out anything. It'd be cool if they do, you know, because I think they're pretty cool. But I think part of it is I actually also found out recently, like, because the guys that mentioned stuff like that, they're all buddies of mine. But like some of my friends that have helped and done some of these pledges, when they sign up or make their Kickstarter account, they don't do their like main email. They do like their second or third email. So like one dude, you know, he never answered his survey because he never checks that email, and it's just kind of like, you know, I put info in there that you guys kind of need, and if you don't ever check your email and you don't get this info, that makes things harder on me. So he still hasn't gotten his Kickstarter reward from last time, and I see him almost weekly, you know, and I'm like, and he's harassed me. He's like, "Hey, where's my stuff?" I was like, "You haven't told me what you wanted." He's like, "Oh, I told you like one time when we spoke in person, whatever." I was like, "Bro, like I do hundreds of these things. You know, I can't remember what you want. You have to do your survey or email me or text me, anything like that, so I can have something to refer to, because like I cannot remember. I've got too many things going and too many other people and too many stuff to package and mail and do. Like just email me or fill out the survey." It's like, "Well, I didn't get no survey." It's like, "Yes, you did. Check your spam." Like, "No, bro, it's not in there." It's like, "Is this the account that you signed up for Kickstarter?" "I don't know." "Oh, you have to find out. I can't tell you." And sure enough, it's not. And I see his email, and there's like all my stuff posted in there. It's just like, oh my goodness, bro. You know, I don't think I send out that much. You know, I send out a newsletter. It's been pretty weekly since the pandemic started, bi-weekly at worst. And you know, I post a few updates. I don't put out that much. So I don't think you can really say, "Oh, I'm spamming you," so I'm not gonna look at it. Dude, I got this international guy right now who filled out his survey. I shipped his stuff on August 16th, and it arrived back to my doorstep on September 26th, this Saturday. I don't know why. It made it to Europe. It's got stickers all over it. It's got writings. I have emailed him. Like I emailed him. I've messaged him through Kickstarter. I'm not getting any replies. Like I don't, and he bought issues 1 through 3 of the Kickstarter edition. Plus, it was going overseas, so it's like he's because of all the international stuff. I mean, he spent like $70. So it's like I want to get you your books because you spent a good chunk of change. But I can't get it to him if he doesn't reply. Like I don't know if his address went in wrong. I've double checked on my end. The address appears correct from everything that he gave me. Like it's inputted correctly. But I mean, there is a distinct possibility that maybe he just miswrote something. It happens. Stranger things have happened. This is so low res. 144 DPI. This is so bad. What is going on? Hold on. Yeah. I gotta look at this because whatever reason, I've got low res line art on this page, and it looks like it. Need some old one. So that's not the one I want. Okay, so even the Dropbox is jacked up. Okay, I'm gonna shoot an email right quick because Sorry, had to. I'm gonna stop working on this page because it's pointless. It's low res. That was 144 DPI. This is 600 DPI. This is what everything else has been. So that's why the lines on that last one look so crappy. So emailed the guys in charge, and we'll see if they can get the high res from Weldon, or if somebody totally screwed up from the get-go. It happens. That's why I had to go check the file on Dropbox and make sure I didn't just manage to mistakenly resize it somehow. But I did not, so it is now on them. I will just move on to the next page. I think I just saw that campaign listed today. I don't think I'd seen it before. Yeah, I can definitely reach out. Sure, what's happening. Of course, if it's like the last time I offered the skate decks, they didn't sell until the last like 48 hours when I did them on issue 2. So they could still happen.
It's late. The house is quiet. Others are sleeping, but you're still up, thinking about the future and working on it. The same passion that keeps you up keeps us up. We weren't satisfied with the state of higher education, so we cut the cost of getting an online degree in half. We know you won't rest until you've reached your goals. Neither will we. WGU. Ambition never rests. Tap the owl to learn more.
When an oil spill hits, the animals and birds, like this little guy, need cleaning up. And the rescue workers trust Dawn dish soap for that, because it's tough on grease, yet gentle. There you go, little guy. Back to mama. Click the banner now to find out more about Dawn.
Oh, I feel better now.
Hey, it's Cole Swindell. Just like you, I've been waiting and waiting for college football season, and it's finally here. This is pretty much my favorite time of year. I've been a huge college football fan since I was a little kid, always watching, spending Saturday game days with family and friends. That's why I'm taking over Spotify's Tailgate Party playlist, sharing my favorite game day tracks with you that keep the energy up and the party going. Tap the banner now to listen to my Tailgate Party.
I don't know. That might be a pointless
San
ad.
Antonio,
Are they
people
even
need to go
doing
to work,
like
shop, care for family, and stay
fans at
connected.
college games?
That's where VIA can help. We have a plan to improve the transit system by decreasing wait times, shortening travel times, and adding innovative services like rideshare. All to help reach the goal of moving people quickly, reliably, and easily. See how the plan works at keepsamoving.com.
Plan is to go to my local comic book shop tomorrow. A couple weeks ago, dropped off a bundle of Sasquanaut issue ones with them. They had asked to get a few more copies to put in their store. I was like, sure, but I didn't know how many they wanted, so I grabbed 3 of each cover of issue 1 of the A, B, and C cover. Enough? Is that too many? What do you want? And I'm like, oh, yeah, man. They were working on the diamond order, which is pretty labor intensive, and so they didn't they couldn't deal with my stuff right away, and that's fine. I was kind of in a hurry too. I was running some errands. Like, oh, we'll do it later. I know where you guys are. You know where I'm at. And it's just been a few weeks. And I was like, oh yeah, I still need to get this taken care of, and so I go tomorrow, do that. You know, not bad. They got 9 issues that they're gonna stock. And they put their order in for issue 4. They got their issue 3s, and you know, they had with issue 1 when I sent them when I gave them the first copies, I actually doubled their order. I gave them twice what they ordered from the retailer reward because they've always been really good to me. It's just like, you know, why not? You know, they've helped me make some money, and they'll be able to get more comics out to more people and so on and so forth. And they sold out, which was freaking cool, man. So I mean, they had like 20 issues that they sold out, and it wasn't like it's a $3 comic. So I was pretty excited about that. So the fact that they wanted more is also even more exciting. So, but I do need to go get that taken care of, and I think they have 1 or 2 books at least. I think 1, maybe 2, that I was wanting to get. So I think what we'll probably end up doing is like a store credit or something, so I can get a book or 2 that I want. Oh, yeah. Get down, dog. Get. When I picked Tuesday night for streaming, I did not think about the recycling needing to be done the next day, and my neighbors taking out recycle, and me and the dog being next to the baby while she sleeps, and he does not like those recycle bin noises. Of course, he won't just go hang out downstairs either, so. Yeah, he's yeah, something like that. He's some possessed dude or something. He gets some glowy red eyes. Spoiler alert. Yeah, we got local stores. You know, I'm not up in your neck of the woods. I'm down in Texas. We got local stores. Weathering the storm. I haven't spent much time there in quite a while, not just because of the pandemic, just because if I do, I spend money, and you know, comics can be expensive. I just need to get back into reading more. I keep falling off. Too much going on, and I miss reading. I got a lot of great stuff to read. I want to reread a lot of stuff I have, but there's also new stuff I want to read. Plus, I gotta get this digital comics sorted thing figured out because I got a bunch of cool digital comics to read too. Actually, I had a buddy that was gonna be opening another store. He had one for a few years, and he actually sold it because, well, he had a good location, just the real estate where he was at was outrageously expensive, and so I mean he was working all the time, and fortunately he never really lost any money, but he couldn't really get ahead to really get much in the way of employees just because the real estate was so expensive. So he sold it to another He sold it to another company, and he's been kind of rebuilding and ramping up to open up another store in a different location that'll have much cheaper real estate. And the plan was to open this year, and I think that's been derailed thanks to our old COVID pal. But still good news. He's a cool dude. He's got all his connections and accounts still, so he's helping me out with some of my purchases. Like he I order my bags and boards through him because he'll get them for me at cost. So that's saving. I didn't do that at first. I didn't know. Like it just kind of came up in a conversation we had, and I was like, oh. So I think it was campaign 2. I bought maybe 500. I think maybe 500 bags and boards through him, and did issue 2 and issue 3. I think I might have maybe 100 left, so I need to get some more for this campaign. I need to be able to bag boards, but I think I'm gonna go the resealable bags this time, which are a little bit more expensive. But honestly, I'll probably end up saving that money on tape, so it evens out. I think. Hopefully it'll make the bagging and boarding process a little bit easier, a little less tedious, perhaps. But I think I'm gonna go now that I know I can do this. I think I'm gonna do that and probably get like 1,000 bags and boards, and it's not even gonna run me $100. So I think I'll probably do that and get set for the next couple campaigns.
If you're listening to this song on high and still hear noise from outside, you might need new windows. With Pella Windows, you get exceptional sound resistance to block the noise, whether you live in the city or country. Get $200 off per qualifying window and $500 off per qualifying door, or 0% APR for 48 months. Offer ends October 17th. Visit PellaSanAntonio.com to schedule an appointment. Certain restrictions apply.
It's late. The house is quiet. Others are sleeping, but you're still up. Thinking about the future and working on it. The same passion that keeps you up keeps us up. We weren't satisfied with the state of higher education, so we cut the cost of getting an online degree in half. We know you won't rest until you reached your goals. Neither will we. WGU. Ambition never rests. Tap the owl to learn more.
Wendy's breakfast faves are 2 for $4. Choose between the honey butter chicken biscuit, classic bacon, egg, and cheese, or classic sausage, egg, and cheese. You have to tell a friend, and they'll tell a friend, and they'll tell a friend, and they'll
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
Yeah, but that's how I also grew up. I always just scotch tape stuff. I never had resealable bags and boards. It's part of the nostalgia, man. No, part of it is actually I got quite a bit of extra rolls of tape, and they've gone missing. Like, I don't know where they are. I've been pretty good about keeping like all my Kickstarter stuff together, like all my packing and shipping stuff, so I know where it is. And it was ridiculous. Like I can't find it, and like I gotta buy more. So when we were actually bagging and boarding issue 3 for the fulfillment, we ran out of tape, and yeah, no, fortunately not. And we were at my mom and dad's house actually doing the fulfillment, and we were just kind of like raiding my mom's tape. I felt bad about it. If Tony were around, I could blame Tony, but he wasn't even around. I mean, Lissa's the next best bet, but that actually, you know, that wasn't her using it for school supplies. That was I must have had some kind of brain fart where I put it, and it did not go where it was supposed to go. Don't tell Lissa, but that does happen. I do that sometimes where I'll brain fart in the middle of whatever I'm doing and actually not do it right. But don't tell her I do that because I'll never admit it. And if she's paying attention enough to hear me now, I'll still never admit it. I will deny it. I will deny it forever. Lies. It's lies and you know it. I did not say anything of no such mind. You go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. And just in case somebody watches this later, I don't know if people do that or not. But as mentioned before, we got a Kickstarter going for my book Sasquanaut. There is a link to the Kickstarter, and it is also available on Indiegogo. And both those links are in the chat. So, you know, I should have done that sooner. Whoops. Oh my goodness. What's up, Moose? All right. You all right? Oh my goodness. Depends on the day. Like we've got like in the morning it'll be really cool. Like it'll be really nice in the mornings, and then it'll get kind of warm. I don't know if it's getting up to 90s or not. I honestly I've been working enough the last few days. I haven't been out during midday, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because last week we were in the 70s and I was keeping all the windows open, and this week I'm still on the AC. So that happens. We get fall some like a few days a week or a few hours a day. Come 90's really not that bad right now though. It's really not. Come towards later in October, it'll cool off, and it'll stay pretty temperate and mild till you know in a bad year it'll get hot in May, like early May into April. Last couple years, like this year, it got hot a little early, but the last couple years, it's just been like early June, mid June when it's actually gotten really hot. We're temperate more than anything. You hear people complaining about how hot it is here, and you know we get a couple months where it's pretty blast furnacey, but most of the time it's pretty mild. Oh my goodness. Oh, tired. Oh, yeah, I thought it was done. Now, if I weren't coloring this page, I would break apart this whatever this is. I don't know if it's a plaque or a news article or something. I have no idea. And usually the rule of thumb when laying flats is when in doubt, separate it. But since I'm coloring this page, I'm not worried about it. I'll deal with it whenever I deal with it. There might be something in the script about what it is, then I'll figure it out. The beginning of last week was cool. Like the first, like Monday through Wednesday was really cool last week. Monday especially was almost cold. By the end of the week, it was back up to like, all right, turn on the AC. Boom. All right. So since that other page was low res, that's all I'm gonna worry about doing tonight. Oh my goodness. So yeah. Who knows? What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday, right?
Dollar Shave Club brings you the ultimate shave starter set.
Maybe
$5
Thursday?
with free shipping.
Maybe Thursday
Get
I'll
our
try and
premium 6-blade
do a
razor,
daytime
2 razor
stream. It's
leaf
been a while since I've
cartridges,
done a
prep
daytime
scrub,
stream. I think
translucent shave butter that softens hairs
with
and leaves your skin feeling smooth, and post-shave
Alyssa's off
dew
this
that
week having
refreshes
a
and
good time
hydrates.
with her
It's
mom
the
till she
best
left
$5
today,
you'll
and then
ever spend.
I think she's gonna
Unless you
meet
buy some winning lottery
a friend
tickets.
for coffee
Visit
on Thursday and take the
dollarshaveclub.com/Spotify.
munchkin. So
Refills ship at regular price.
Thursday I think it'll be I think I'll be able to probably stream during the day maybe.
At Shriner University,
I'm not quite sure
our
what I'll be
students have
working
more
on.
than seats in a
One of
classroom
these
or textbooks.
projects. So
That's why we've made it
yeah,
optional for
maybe
you to submit
Thursday,
ACT
hopefully.
and SAT test
So
scores on your
other than
application.
that,
From the
I
moment
think
you
it's
apply
about
to
time for me
graduation.
to close up shop this evening. Thanks for hanging out. And anybody catches this later, if you catch it later, go check out my Kickstarter and or Indiegogo for my creator-owned comic Savage Sasquanaut. Till next time, hopefully Thursday. Bye.